Soul Tribe, welcome back. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. So, ooh. They're all here. The whole team is here. The whole Spirit Tribe is here. So, I wanted to do a new video on the awakening, and I wanted to go over some symptoms for the newly awakened souls that are coming across my videos. I see that my ear is ringing right now. My right ear, high pitch. Um, Sorry, it's just ringing loud. So, on my social site, TikTok, I see a lot of young people, young human beings. They could be old souls, but I see a lot of human beings. And it's like this whole awakening is being marketed. People are just talking about stuff to make money, to get likes, to get views, to get followers. And a lot of the things that they're saying is generic. It's regurgitated. I can feel that a lot of what people are sharing is not authentic. They haven't gone through the experience and they're talking about it. And I feel like there's a lot of misinformation. Now, this just could be my ego, but I just feel like there's a lot of misinformation. And I don't want this awakening to end up being diverted, being thrown off, course like it was in, the 60s and the 70s. So here I am. Here I am. I am somebody that has been going through an awakening for a very long time. I've been sharing my experience with you guys. I've had this channel for years, and I've experienced a lot. So I don't just teach, what I don't know. I'm really just sharing with you guys my experience. And then, of course, a lot of you share your experience with me, and I make note of it, what's similar and what's, something I've never heard of. So I like to talk about it and bring it up because this is, you know, evidence. It's evidence. It's real. It's my real authentic experience, and I'm sharing it with you guys. And um, I want people that are new to this to know that they're not alone. So if you're listening to this video, you're most likely undergoing a spiritual awakening either by accident and or by choice. Accident, I don't feel like anything is by accident, just like I don't feel like there's no such thing as coincidences. So if you're here, you were guided here some way, somehow. Here you are. Welcome. And you're and if you are going through this awakening process and you are here, the reason that you're here is probably because you're experiencing a whole lot of weirdness in and around your life. So in a moment, I'm going to go over some of the most common, generic, common signs that you are awakening. Some are crazy, like wild, crazy and bizarre, okay? And others just might seem a little odd and a little weird, and you just might, downplay what you're experiencing. But they're all a part of this process that we're going through. We're evolving as a species. We are acclimating to the world, to the planet that we're residing on. And this awakening is more than just something that's happening spiritually. Okay? It's happening at a physical level, and I'm going to explain what soon. And it has to do with radiation, like man-made pollution. And I'll get to that at some point in this video. So, everything that you're experiencing you know that is causing you some sort of discomfort, um weirdness going on in your life, everything that you're experiencing, you can think of it as a birthing process, like birthing pangs toward a greater and more enlightened self. Again, I'm going to probably use lingo that you guys don't know, or maybe I use it differently than you hear other people use it, because some people don't like to use the word enlightened. These are all things you'll learn along the way. Um, like energy, chi, same thing. I'm talking about the same thing. So don't critique the words I use. Don't critique my lingo. Okay. So when I say enlightened self, just be open. Be open. Okay. Um, so as I mentioned a few moments ago, I have been awakening for years, probably my whole entire life. I just realized I was going through awakening, um, probably in and around 2011. Something was weird that I knew was going on. 2012, and then by 2014 I was like, definitely, definitely, I'm consciously aware of this process that I'm going through. So I've been awakening for years. I just feel like there's levels to this experience. You level up, you go through a glow up. So, just because I've already experienced some of the things that people that are new to this are experiencing, confirmation, um, doesn't mean I'm not going to experience that again, because as you level up, you have to kind of go through that again. It's just a little bit more intense. The intensity of it has increased just a little bit. So I don't know it all. I really don't. I don't know it all. I just share my experiences, and I noticed that throughout the years, others have shared with me their experience and it was similar. So I'm just talking about it. And I want to let you know you're not crazy. You're just more aware these days. You're starting to connect to your higher self. You're coming online spiritually. You are aware of your surroundings. You are aware that you are more than just this human being, that has been indoctrinated to wake up, get ready, go to school, wake up, get ready, go to work, and do all these things like you are supposed to do, like as if you were a robot. You are not that. You are more than that. You are divine. You are a god. You are a goddess. So you may have heard me say we are godlings. We are fractals of source. So we have that God code in us. We are God. We are source creator. That's another word you guys might hear me use. I don't really like to use the word God. Um, but I like source. I like creator. So if you hear me say God, it's really source creator. If you hear me say source creator, it's what most of you guys would consider God. I'm not really quite sure what you guys think God is, but whatever. We'll save that for another video. I think I've touched base on that anyways. Um, but yeah, we're all fractals of source. We are divine. We have that energy within us because we are one. I am you, you are me. You over there are listening to a version of yourself telling yourself what you've learned on the timeline that you're living on to help you level up. And once we level up to where we need to be, we will reconnect with our source creator and be one. We'll be whole once again. I don't know when that'll ever happen, but that's what I feel is what's taking place. So you're connecting with your higher self. Your higher self is a higher version of you. It's your future you. So just know that you would never, higher self, you would never mislead yourself. Your higher self would never mislead you. It's always trying to guide you to where you need to be. Because of free will, it can't force you, but it can guide you. That's why I do all those intuition exercises, because I'm teaching you how to tap into your higher self, teaching you how to feel. I'm teaching you how to listen, to connect with your higher self. So guiding through this life would be much easier than not knowing than being disconnected. Okay, so let's go over some of the generic, similar, common side effects, symptoms that you may be experiencing as you go through this awakening. Now, I want to go over the most generic, even though I did start off by saying that people are talking about the most generic, but that's because what's out there. The difference is I share with you some of my experiences as I talk about these generic, most common awakening symptoms. There's more than just these. I think I have 14. I think. If I remember correctly, I think there's 14. But there's so much more. I mean, you're unique. So you may be experiencing other things added to these generic ones. So number 1, you may feel like you're lost. Like these are signs that these feelings, these symptoms are probably what you'll start to feel at the very beginning of your awakening. For me, I feel like I went through a quickening. So I felt everything all bunched up together all at once. And I feel like it was to kind of catch me up to get me to where I needed to be because um, I feel like spirit has been trying to get my attention like way before I consciously became aware that I something different was, something weird was happening to me. So I had to catch up. So I had a lot of things all bunched together. Anyways, number 1, you might be feeling lost or think you're losing your mind. Like this happened way before anything. Like when I knew that not everybody was seeing spirit and hearing spirit, I knew something was wrong. Like I thought something was wrong with me because I thought seeing spirit was normal until I realized that not everybody does. So when that was brought to my attention, that's when I started to feel lost. And I really thought that I was losing my mind. I thought there was something wrong with me for a really long time. For a really long time. I've shared my story probably early on when I first created this platform. Um, I just want to let you know you're not crazy and you're not losing your mind. Uh, as I mentioned, this is usually one of the first signs that you're experiencing some sort of a spiritual awakening of some kind. It was this way for me because everything in my life did not seem right. As I got older, I just really felt like something was wrong. I felt like the relationship I was in with my partner was off. I didn't feel like I was supposed to be with this person. Maybe I was supposed to be with this person for a moment, but there was a time in our relationship when we should have broken up. There were things that were done, things that were said, and that I should have left. No, I didn't leave. I forced myself to stay. I forced myself to work things out, and I forced myself to forgive when I should have been like and cut it off. So my relationship with my partner at the time was off. I constantly felt like I didn't belong with this person living in this house at that time. And we moved, and the new house would be good for, a couple months. And then I'd feel like I didn't belong there. Like like I was searching for something, but I moved a lot. And I feel like I moved a lot. I even moved out of the state that I lived in to other states. And I felt like I was searching for something. So even the house I lived in, it just didn't feel right. I feel that's when it all really, really, really started for me to really like the ball really started to gain speed as it was rolling down the hill. That's how I feel. Looking back, back then I didn't know anything, but now looking back, I'm like, oh, that makes perfect sense what I was going through. My life for a long time just really felt off. Looking back, I feel it's a path I took, and it was most likely one I stayed on far too long. I don't want to say that it was the wrong path because every path on our journey teaches us something. I just stayed on that path too long. Maybe I was, um, I don't know, I was forcing myself to walk down the wrong road far too long. Now, if this is how any of you guys that are listening to this right now, if this is how you're feeling, you may feel some sort of odd sense of disassociation, as though you're somewhat outside of your body rather than fully inside of your body. I felt that way a lot back then because I didn't feel like I fit in, but I also felt that way in like 2017. I was that way a lot. Like I was like out of body when I walked to the mailbox. I felt like I was outside of my body within watching myself walk around like um but that was also a time in my life that I totally was disconnected from family, friends. I moved to the country from the city. My family wasn't talking to me. Um, I had a big falling out with my siblings, and for a short time, my parents as well. So I wasn't really talking to anybody. And so I was really disconnected, and I felt like sometimes I was disconnecting from my own body and just doing simple things like walking to the car. I could feel that disconnect. I can see me walking to my physical body walking to the car, and like I was outside of my body. It was the weirdest feeling. I remember talking about it on this channel to you guys. It was the weirdest feeling. It really was. It was really, really, really weird, strange. Um, I haven't felt that way in a while, but if that happens to you, maybe you are disconnected in some way, or, disassociate, feeling a form of detachment. And maybe something's going on that you need to figure out, or maybe it could just be your soul's way of telling you you need to disconnect and take a detour or something, or evaluate your life or something. I mean, it could be anything. Um, it could be a health issue, you know? I want to say that too, that just because I'm telling you that if you're experiencing XYZ, that it's part of the awakening, I don't want you to take what I say at face value. I want you to do your own research, and I want you to get checked out. I want you to go to a doctor, get your blood drawn, and get looked at, and tell your doctor, hey, I'm experiencing this feeling. What could it be? Take a look at your lifestyle. What are you eating? Are you healthy? Are you smoking? Are you drinking? Are you getting enough rest? Are you taking um, vitamins and minerals? Are you hydrated? So there's a lot of things that this could be, right? So don't just think that it's an ascension symptom and then go on living with your life, because, it could be literally anything. Okay. Um, this disassociation can happen to people who are experiencing traumas. So like I said, I had a falling out with my family. So what's that? That's a trauma, right? It's a chaotic situation with, revolving around a lot of drama that created a lot of trauma. For me, it was a lot of trauma. And so if you're experiencing anything like that, it could be because of a trauma. It could be childhood trauma, current trauma, past life trauma. So shadow work, something you're going to have to do. This could also be some sort of mental instability. In this situation, it's more a case of suddenly being bigger than your corporeal vessel, than your flesh. Okay. So if it's anything mental, two words: shadow work. You're just going to have to put in the shadow work. You're just going to have to figure it out and get yourself healed up. We're capable of healing anything, even if it's mental instability. Only you can heal that. And if it's anything mental, it's probably caused by trauma. So you have to work yourself through all of that, and you have to learn how to forgive others and forgive yourself. So, two words again: shadow work, shadow work, shadow work. You just have to learn how to do shadow work. Be authentic and figure it out, and that's confirmation. So shadow work is a part of this journey, no matter what. You can't avoid it. It's a part of this journey. So trauma healing will come up a lot, many, many, many times on this journey, even as you level up. Mental instability, well, that's caused, like I said, by trauma and poor living choices and or a medical condition that's making you, like some sort of uh maybe some neurons in your brain are not firing off the way they're supposed to for some reason, and it's creating a mental, instability issue for you because of a medical condition that's not being treated properly. But I feel like anything can be fixed and treated. So as you look around at yourself, you may feel strangely detached from things and people, especially if you are a person that just dealt with some weird trauma or trying to resolve some traumas in your life because you're doing the shadow work. And you could definitely feel detached from people, places, and things if you are having some sort of mental issue going on because of a medical problem. You might look at your partner and, struggle to understand why you are with them. And again, this feeling of struggling and asking yourself, why did you marry this person? Why are you dating this person? Why did you have kids with this person? That could be a hormonal imbalance. You see what I'm saying, you guys? This could be medical, and that medical condition of having your hormones out of whack because of diabetes or some sort of um, thyroid issue, or what's the other one? A woman, as you grow, not just women either, because men can have problems with their testosterone being too high or too low. But I mean, women going through perimenopause, menopause, so they're more moody. So listen, just because I said something about it being medical, mental, don't let that scare you, because your hormone imbalance can definitely be fixed like this, okay? As long as it's addressed. So if you're asking yourself those things, it could definitely be that it's time for you to switch paths on your journey and you're just not connecting with that person anymore. Or it could definitely be that you're having some sort of a medical issue that's making you question everything because your hormones are out of balance and they're all wacky, and it's making you think like really off things. And, and then when you get it stable, you'll be like, oh, why was I thinking that about my husband or my wife? I don't want to leave this person. And then you calm down and everything comes back into homeostasis and you're happy. But if it has to do with your spiritual awakening, it could just be that it's time for you to switch gears and start your journey down a new path. I mean, this awakening path is an individual process. And just because you're married, it doesn't mean that your spouse is going to go with you. That's the sad truth. So, sometimes we marry people and we change and we become more enlightened and we continue our journey, and our spouses, they don't understand that journey. So they're left behind. And these are things that could happen. So again, you're not crazy. You're changing, you're evolving, you're growing, you're going through a glow up. Okay. So you cannot stay with people that are not going to support you, and you can't stay with anybody that's going to suppress your gift. It's just going to make you miserable. You also may ask yourself questions like, why do I work at this place? Why do I do this kind of job? This is pointless. This is stupid. This is, whatever you're asking yourself, right? Like you could be like, this makes no sense for humanity. And you end up quitting. So these things happen. They just happen as we evolve. Change happens. Okay. Some people feel like their life is falling apart. Of course, it's going to fall apart if you're questioning yourself, like, why am I with this person and then you leave? Why am I working at this job and then you quit? Why am I living in this house or in this location or in this state or in this country and you move? Or, and when you start to ask yourself these things, if you don't physically do the leaving and the detaching, the universe is going to do it for you because you had put that emotion out there. Emotions are energy in motion. So when you have those thoughts or you say those words like, why am I with you? Why am I working here? Why do I live here? I wish I didn't work here anymore. I wish I wasn't dating you or married to anymore. Whatever. The universe is listening and the universe is like, oh, okay, Gabby don't want to live there anymore. Your wish is granted. Okay. So the universe doing these things is not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just a thing. And it's not even the universe doing it, it's you doing it. You're putting the intention out there, you're making it happen. So then when those things happen, it feels like your life is falling apart. And it's really not. These things are not happening to you, they're happening for you. You have to change up your perspective. So what's actually happening is that all of the illusions that you've been clinging to in an attempt to make sense of their world, your world, everything is just unraveling. You're taking off those rose-colored glasses, and the world is not what you were told it was because you've been indoctrinated since the moment that you came out of the womb. You have to understand that. You've been told what to do your whole entire life. Once you take off those rose-colored glasses and you realize that you are divine and you are a sovereign being, it's kind of hard at first. And you really do feel like everything is falling apart because you don't know what to do. You don't know how to survive. It's a new world for you. So you kind of have to just figure it out yourself. Years ago, they didn't have people like me talking about this to help you understand. You just had to figure it out. It was scary. Back when I first started talking about all this, it was scary because there was nobody really talking about this kind of stuff unless you knew of gurus like Ram Dass, Timothy Leary. If you followed, their work, if you had hippie parents to help you, I mean, that helped. But if you didn't have any of that or access to any of that, you were on your own. So the truth pill is a hard pill to swallow. And a lot of us, we've taken the truth pill. Which leads me to number 2. Sorry, my Christmas clock is singing. La 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 la. I think it's done. Nope, it's gonna do the whole song. Water break. Man, this song is long. It's worse than my living room clock. I didn't record in there because that clock's always dinging. Okay, lovely song. Lovely. I love it. I love this time of year. Look, look, look. Watch his eyebrows. 7 more days till Christmas. I'm so excited. Okay, let's go into number 2. Everything I just said is leading me into number 2. Number 2, you've changed. So everything starts to fall apart. Everything starts to unravel. You start to detach. Excuse me. Water burp. And then people start pointing their fingers at you and telling you, you've changed. So number 2, you changed. You're not the Gabby you were 10 years ago. You're not the John or the Jill or the Melanie or the Shavonda or the Kyle, the dean, you're not the person you were 10 years ago or a year ago. Hell, I'm not even the same person I was a month ago. That's how fast things are changing for me. People who have known you for a very long time might inform you that you've changed. You've changed recently. The people that will throw this in your face, and yes, I chose my words well, throw this in your face because that's what they will do. When you change, you trigger people, so they will throw that in your face. And it will most likely be the person or people you are close to, like the person you're dating or the person you're married to. It'll be your family, your siblings, your parents, aunts, uncles, cousins, those kind of people, your boss, coworkers. Those people that are close to you, that know you, are going to be the first people that throw it in your face and tell you, you know what, Gabby, you've changed. This is not how you were when I met you. Well, no shit. We're not supposed to stay the same. We're supposed to change, and hopefully it's for the better so that we can grow, so that we could glow. I hate when people say, well, you've changed. I always like to add, is it for the worst or for the better? And of course, because it's triggering them, they're going to tell you that you changed and you're bad. Your change is bad. It's crazy. So they like to point out the obvious. You've changed. And it's because you're exhibiting behaviors that are so, so, so different from how you've been up until now. And they don't feel like they really know you anymore. And it's because they're not on this journey with you. And then they feel like they don't even want to know you anymore. So they kind of just like they kick you out of their life in a way. They kind of detach themselves from you. And if they don't do it quietly, they sure as might, I was going to say something mean. They might do other things like stir the shit pot and cause a huge fight. And then they know by doing that, they will eliminate you from their life. They will detach from you, and then they will play the victim control dynamic and make you look like the villain and they are the victim. I did a video on that years ago. Um, don't don't let them get to you, you guys. Don't let them get to you. If you lose your peeps, your family and your loved ones, you're going to meet new ones along the way. I promise you. It might be lonely for a little while, but you're going to attract your people. You're going to attract your tribe. You're like a magnet. You're going to pull them in. They're going to attract themselves to you. You're going to attract yourselves to them. So your views and opinions may have shifted and no longer align with the people that are in your life. And this can really trigger those people close to you. And you know what else changes? Your appearance. Your appearance might even change. Not a whole lot, a little bit. It starts off a little bit. Some people they just might be like, fuck it, and take off that corporate uniform and be wearing tie-dyes and, you know, whatever else, those big Baja, or I don't know what they're called, boho, Baja skirts. I could see the skirt in my head. I just can't think of the name. The big skirt. They might be walking around barefoot now. They might have traded high heels for bare feet. Yeah. They might have traded riding around in the car to riding their bike to work, and they're becoming healthier, more fit. So your appearance might change. You may have once have been a very materialistic person, and now you're a simple person. I didn't think I was a materialistic person, but looking back, I guess I was a little bit. Like I wanted to have a nice car. I wanted to have nice shoes and stuff when I went to work or when I was out in public. But I've also always been a little simple too, because I really don't like shopping. I'm one of those girls that don't like to shop. I've never really liked to shop. I do like to shop, like antique shopping, uh, garage selling, estate selling. I like to do stuff like that, but I hate the fucking mall. Like I liked the mall when I was a teenager, and it wasn't because I wanted to shop. I mean, like if you're looking to go look at boys, I guess like that's a form of shopping, boy shopping. But like I hate the mall. I hate shopping. I really do. I like shopping for other people. I like to shop online. I really don't like to spend money. I'm frugal. I don't really buy things that I don't need, even though I just told you guys I like to go to estate sales. I don't need that stuff, but I like it. I know I'm going to talk about that later on in this video of why I like it. So I'm just going to move on. What else? You may be carrying yourself differently. Maybe your posture is a little bit more straighter nowadays. And that's because it's most likely because you understand the flow of energy. You know how it works. So you know by standing taller and sitting taller, as I tell you this and I'm slouched over my computer, you know that your chakras, it will work better. They will flow, your energy will flow through your chakras better and you feel so much better versus being hunched over, typing in your computer all day like this or looking at your phone all day like this. And you create blocks in like your throat and your solar plexus and stuff like that. I mean, that's not just because of chakras. It could be just, it could be because you're more confident these days because you can see through the bullshit. You're just more confident. So you stand taller, you stand more confident. Maybe it's because you're moving with a bit more grace. Maybe it's because you're moving with more intention. The awakening, in my opinion, is like a drill sergeant. It will straighten your ass right up in a good way. um, yeah, it'll straighten your ass right up. You're going to learn about a lot of this energy stuff the longer you are on your journey. So there may be a lot of things that I say in this video. Audio, I haven't decided if I'm going to post video yet. But there's going to be a lot of things that I say, and you may be like, what is she even talking about? Like, I don't understand. And then at some point in your journey, you'll have an understanding, and you'll be like, oh, I remember I watched this girl, and now I totally understand what she was saying. And you might even come back to my video or my pages and watch a few more videos and be like, wow, I get it now. Stuff just will start to click. Either way, you'll be able to determine which of these people that are in your life has your back as you go through this journey, as you go through this process, as you go through this change and this shift. Okay? And you'll know who has your back by how they react to your changes. If they ask how they can help you and encourage you to grow, you know that those are your people. That's your tribe. But if they cause low vibes and create drama and they keep crossing your boundary lines, those are not your people. That's not your tribe. At this point of your journey, you may have to start cord cutting, cutting cords with people, cutting people out of your life, either for good or temporarily, until you learn how to create boundaries. It doesn't have to be forever, but it might have to be forever. And only you'll know that. But when you're strong enough to create boundaries and tell people about them, and they still cross your boundaries, they still cross the line, then those people are the people that you're going to have to back away from. You can still love them just from a distance if they're family. Let's go to number 3. Physical discomfort, stuff like fatigue and strange body aches and sensations. You might literally be tired all the time when you should be feeling rested because you got a lot of sleep last night. Maybe you slept like 10 hours and you're like, how in the world am I still tired? You're like, I'm getting enough sleep and I'm just tired. I'm eating well and I'm still tired. And there's nothing physically wrong with you, but yet you're still tired. So I'm going to remind you guys, if you're experiencing anything weird that's out of the ordinary, get yourself to a doctor. Get yourself checked. Let your doctor know that you're feeling tired. Again, it could be an imbalance in your body, like thyroid is not working properly. Maybe, like it could literally be anything. I always go to thyroid because thyroid, your doctor never checks that. Like I have to fight my doctor to check my kids. Like they have to have a reason to check it, and I lie. I say I make up shit. Like they will not check my kids for iron. They won't even check me for, well, they check me for iron now because my ferritin was so low. But like my kids, they're like, "Well, why should we check that?" Because it's fucking maintenance. That's why. But, I don't say that. But they won't check it unless there's a reason. For girls, it has to be that you're bleeding a lot. For guys, I don't even know. Like I would try to get my son checked and there was no cause for checking. Maybe I should have lied and said, "Oh, he's bruising a lot or something." I don't know. But now I know you have to lie because you have to play these little fucking corporate games because the insurance company tells the doctor what the doctor can and can't do. So you just got to kind of tell the doctor, you've been bleeding a lot or your daughter is bleeding a lot through her menstrual cycle or you're noticing a lot of odd bruises or, you know, brain fog, stuff like that. You shouldn't have to fight with your doctor to get these tests done. You should be able to request them and then your doctor say, okay, and order them. And it should just be that simple. These insurance companies, like, I hope there's a time in my lifetime when we take these little fuckers out because here in America, the healthcare system sucks. It really does. It drives me crazy that I know I'm going off the rails right now, but how can an insurance company tell the doctor no? If a doctor is requesting an MRI because the doctor thinks something is wrong, how can an insurance company be like, well, our team thinks that you should do this other testing first? And then, like, 5 years later, whatever your first doctor wanted to test is horribly bad because your insurance company didn't want to comply. It's crazy. I needed to get some sort of MRI testing done um, for my lower back about a year ago, but it's been like 3 years and they've been denying it, denying it, denying it. So, whatever. Whatever. They just want to keep doing like x-rays and stupid shit that, you know, doctors are like, you can't see what I'm looking for. But whatever. Anyways, anyways, just get yourself checked. Don't just assume that what you're experiencing is because you're having ascension symptoms. It could literally be radiation poisoning. It could be a medical issue, something very, very simple. Maybe your iron's low, you need to take some iron pills, eat some liver, red meat, or something. I mean, it could literally just be simple. Okay. If you're feeling tired, that's, nervous system. Maybe you're just overworked. So, again, don't just write it off as an ascension symptom. Sometimes I think these ascension symptoms are taken too literally. I mean, I'm guilty because back in the day I was like, oh my God, I have that. And there's reasons for having these things because we're evolving. And I think we just lumped it up into something called the ascension, which is actually, in my opinion, now that I'm been on this journey for so long, in my opinion, ascension is not just something we're experiencing. It shouldn't be called ascension. It should be called the evolution process. It should be called the acclimation process because we're evolving and acclimating in this world that we're living in that has changed. There's a lot going on this world, meaning there's a lot of energy poisoning, frequency poisoning going on, man-made stuff, like there's Wi-Fi router box things out there on the light poles, the electrical poles outside. If you live in a building, you might live on one side of the building where they're actually putting all of that Wi-Fi stuff on the building, and that's affecting you. Um, with the pollution, the poison, the air, food, water, really quick. YouTube. Sorry I didn't say this in the beginning. YouTube. Everything I am saying is for entertainment purposes only, okay? Entertainment purposes only. Don't take my video down. I'm always getting like flagged. I already got one of those little flags, and then I got a warning. I don't want, or I got a strike. That's what I got. Yeah, I get two more strikes and I'm finito. I'm gone. And I don't want to be gone, okay? So, I'm sorry I didn't start my video by saying that all of this is for informational purposes. No, no, wait. Entertainment purposes. I can't even lie to myself. It's all for entertainment purposes only. Wink, wink. In case I don't do a video, I was winking. Okay, so get yourself checked out at the doctor's. I think I drank too much coffee today. um, so if there's nothing wrong with you, physically wrong with you, yet you wake up tired and you feel like your limbs are, made of lead and everything makes you exhausted, like making your bed, doing dishes, laundry, and all vacuuming, that exhausts you. These symptoms that I'm listing could just possibly be awakening symptoms, evolution symptoms, acclimation. This could be the acclimation process, assuming that you do not have any underlying illness that's probably caused by everything I mentioned earlier, the toxins and the poisons, the fluoride in the water, the food. I live in the country and I thought it would be nice and clean to live out here. It's really not. It's really not. Really, it's not. It's a fucking lie. That's one of the biggest lies we've ever been told. I live right next to a huge field where they grow food, corn. Corn is heavily sprayed with stuff. Heavily sprayed. Soybeans, cabbage, carrots. That stuff is not as heavily sprayed as the corn. The corn is really heavily sprayed. I shut my windows. I bought this house in 2020. It's 2023 now. And I'm annoyed that I live next to a farm field because I don't want the C word because they're spraying pesticides on corn and they don't warn any of the neighbors that they're doing it. And it literally flies through the air and it comes into your home. And it's annoying. So with that being said, something like chronic headaches and feeling sore all over your body for absolutely no apparent reason, or you feel like, little prickly odd sensations on your skin, I mean, it could be the awakening. If if you're able to rule out health concerns, then this is likely spiritual in nature, as long as it's not, as long as your doctor gives you a clean bill of health. Assuming that it's not neurological, sprinkled with man-made energy pollution, which intensifies all that. I mean, you see what I mean when I tell you that this awakening saying that we're going through awakening, I think, is very, very, very generic. I really feel like this is an evolutionary process, an acclimation process for your mind, body, and soul. And I think the powers that be know this, and they don't want us to know this. So they make us look like we're crazy. Everything is changing. The way we think, the way we feel, and what we know spiritually. So you hold the key. You have the power. You just doubt yourself. You already know what you need to know. That little voice in your head is telling you. You've just been suppressing it. Let's move on to number 4, because I could talk about number 3 all day, literally. And I don't want to confuse you guys because I really just said I was going to make this video for like the newbies, and I think I just made it like complicated. But I feel like the newbies are going to be going through a quickening, so maybe I didn't complicate it. Maybe they just already know. They're caught up. Number 4, waves of energy rushing up your spine, all the way into your head. I have only felt this 2 times, I think, that I remember. 2 times. And it was once was when I was doing yoga, doing like the breath work, you know. I forgot what it's called, the fire breath. I know I was doing breath work and I felt it. And it wasn't even all that. It was just like this weird like warm sensation. And that's it. It was just like a little rise, like a heat. And the other one, the other time I felt it was when I was lying in bed and I was doing a meditation to fall asleep, and I was just listening to all kinds of frequency music, noises, sounds, and I felt like wild. Like I had this wild experience. Like it went from my spine to my head, but then it tingled all over my body. Like my whole entire body felt like a flush, like liquid shot up from my spine to my head. But once it got to my head, it trickled down into my, like every nerve ending, going all the way into my toes and the top of my skin, my hair, my brain, having my eyes closed. I didn't, it was like a color burst. I seen all these weird colors and it was just weird. That was weird. So I think that might have been a Kundalini awakening. I don't really know. But that's what I experienced. So if that's what it is and you guys know, share your story. So I'm not going to talk about this one much because I don't really have a lot of experience with this. What I experienced is what I feel could have been a Kundalini awakening. If it's not, please let me know what you think it was. And if it's not what a Kundalini awakening is, then share with us down in the comments down below what a real Kundalini awakening feeling is and share your story. I would love to hear it. But a lot of people have had these huge, profound experiences that gave them energy and made them feel amazing. And mine made me feel like that one when I was laying in bed listening to music. I just felt like, whoa, that was interesting, right? But I didn't feel the way I heard other people talk about it. So I really just don't know. So if this is happening to you, try not to panic. I don't know why you would panic. I mean, like the rise for me, the rise in my energy in my spine wasn't like, oh my God, what was that? It was just like a rise in temperature, but it did feel liquidy and like the sensation was kind of like a liquid shooting up your spine, but it didn't scare me. Like maybe the activation sends a signal to calm your body. So just stay calm, you guys. Don't worry. It's a good thing. It's a Kundalini awakening. It's fire energy. You're waking up. You're waking up that fire. That fire. So yeah, mine was like my boring little Kundalini story. So I'm gonna move on to number 5, seeing auras, lights, or other types of energy. This was another one of my very first symptoms, and it's been long lasting. I'm a seer, so I can see into the other realms. I've always had this ability, this gift. Ever since I was a child, I didn't know that it was a gift. I just what I was experiencing, I just thought it was normal until I got to the age and realized that not everybody sees what I was seeing. And then when I was at that age, I was just like, when I was young, I was just like, what? Like, then I became scared of it. Then as I got older, I started to think something was wrong with me. So I only told certain people when I saw things. And I grew up with twins. So I told the twins what I was experiencing, and I told my cousin because I trusted them. And I didn't know what was wrong with me, and they didn't know what was wrong with me. They just kept saying that, um, I don't know, I was coined as a witch ever since I was little. Even at school, walking home in third grade, I remember little kids throwing little tiny pebbles and dirt, clumps of muddy dirt at me and calling me a witch. I went to Kodak Park 41 school in elementary school, and I remember that day. I don't know why. I don't know what made them call me that. I don't know. Like there's a moment in my life that I have this like blackout. Like I don't remember anything, but I do remember that moment leaving the school, and I left later than everybody. And I remember kids picking on me. Kids picked on me my whole life. Called me big eyes, buck teeth, witch. I don't know. I had a weird childhood. So I've always seen stuff. But if you're starting to see stuff, don't get all worried about it, right? Um, I started to see the twinkles of light was different. I started to see that as an adult. But I did suppress my gifts for many, many, many years. And anytime I seen something, I would be like, go away. You don't exist. You're not real. And then it just kind of all went away. So for me, seeing lights, this is something I've been sharing on my YouTube page for like 8 years. I've been open about this experience, and it made me look like a little cuckoo because I was an adult. After I suppressed my gift for so long and telling spirit they don't exist, then a lot of things just started happening to me all at one time. Like spirit was like, it was like the universe was saying, yes, we do exist and we are real, and you're going to believe it. There was a lot of things that started to happen to me in 2011. And a very seasoned medium from Long Island uh, was introduced to me in my life because my husband sings for a living. So I met her at a show. She was backstage. And she told me some stuff about myself. And I didn't know her, so I didn't know how she knew any of this stuff. And we became friends, and we're still friends today. And she had guided me on how to accept this as my gift and how to use it. And she's kind of been she was my mentor for a really long time. So, even though I started to open back up, um, I went from seeing people like spirits, actual apparitions, full body apparitions, to seeing little sparks of light everywhere, twinkling over my head, twinkling across the room, twinkling next to me. Sometimes they're in clumps. Sometimes it's just one. Back then, I didn't know what it was. Now, today, I know pretty much. I know what they are and who they are. I know just by the color, the frequency. I just feel it. Like I feel it and I know it, right? Took many years to learn that, but you will. You will. You'll learn it. But I did at some point go to the eye doctor to make sure that I did not have a retina tear, because when you have a retina tear, you do see flashes of light in your eye. So I just wanted to make sure my eyes were okay, that I didn't have like glaucoma or some crazy eye something or other, but I do. I don't have glaucoma. I have thyroid eye disease. It came from Graves' disease. Um, but I can tell the difference between seeing flashes of light in my eye versus the twinkling lights that I see around me. The flashes of light are ocular migraines, and they can last up to 30 minutes, and they're blinding actually. I hate them. They're scary. Um, so I don't even know how to explain this. Like anything paranormal would be quick. Like you cannot stare at it too long. However, when I was a kid, I used to be able to see an apparition, communicate, and see it the full for the whole time. Now, when I see something, it's quick and it's gone, but I can still communicate with it. It's like it shows itself, but then it turns into an audio. Like, hi, I'm here. Now you can just listen. Same thing with the sparks of light. Hi, I'm here. Got your attention. Now listen. Um, Anything medical usually lingers around a lot longer and has a lot more side effects. So I definitely know the difference from, between what is an ocular migraine, lightning light, and migraine auras. Oh my God, I had my second migraine aura, and woo, let me tell you that they're scary. Like I seen auras around plants, animals, people, but a migraine aura is way different. It literally looks like the way the sun would glare on a camera if you were trying to video something and it makes like a little halo. That's what it looks like. It looks like a halo, like an actual halo. That's a medical aura. A spiritual aura, for me, does not look like a halo. I actually see light, and it's like a pastel light lingering above your body or around an object like a plant. Even rocks have auras. Animals have auras. Now I can't just like look at a rock and be like, oh wow, look at the pretty aura. I have to tune in and I can see the aura. Same as a tree. I can tune in and see the aura and a person. But if it's medical, damn, I've been on this for about an hour because we've already had a Christmas song play. Bum 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 bum. You guys know I can't make short videos. I'm on TikTok, and TikTok is supposed to teach you how to make short videos. And I still can't make short videos. Wow, this song is long. I thought it would have ended, but it just keeps playing on, and Gabby can't record her video. Okay, it's done. So, I don't even know what I was saying. Anyways, I could tell the difference between medical auras and paranormal, spiritual stuff I know now. Maybe if I didn't have this experience, I probably still would question it, but I know now the difference. Only because it's been so many years, and I've had an issue with thyroid eye disease for so many years, and the symptoms are always the same. And it's not the same as spirit. I just know the difference. I just know the difference. To explain it to you is, I don't know if I don't know. I don't even know if you guys would really understand, especially if you've never experienced it. And if you guys are experiencing something like this and you want to ask me questions, I'll leave an open door for you guys to do that. So you can just ask questions. Um, Medical stuff will definitely disrupt your vision you'll feel scared, but yeah, spiritual stuff can scare you too if you're not used to it. But if you're used to it, medical stuff will scare you. Spiritual energy is inner realm, and you'll see it, and if it's here and then it just disappears. Medical stuff lingers a lot longer. And because I work more with angelics, I feel like when they show up, they automatically send out a frequency of calming energy, so you're not scared. Like when they appear, they do it in a way to calm you down, to let you know that Seeing those lights is not something that you should fear. Um, yeah, it's the best way I can explain it. So to recap, if it's spiritual related, you might see halos of white light. Um, Even though I said that the halo was medical, but you'll know that you should know the difference. Like ask yourself, just ask yourself, what answer do you get? And trust in the answer that you believe. And try not to have fear. If you see many sparkles of light around you and halos of white light, that could be spiritual related. Um, the lights that you see may have different colors, and they they will give you a sense of what's going on with the being that you are connecting with or looking at. I have seen orbs of light fly around. I have videos of this on my YouTube channel in my playlist. I have ascended masters. Some of them are fairies, some of them are angelic angels, and some of them are extraterrestrials. And I didn't know all this in the beginning when I was recording them. I got acquainted with them. Now I know the difference. Even though I haven't seen them in a really long time, even though I was doing a video with Morgan like a week or two ago, I caught fluvid and we were just talking about my symptoms, and I was showing her something, and this orb just came right up to the camera, which was pretty cool. So we were not alone. Again, if you see lights suddenly out of the blue and this is not normal for you, just get your eyes checked out and make sure that it's not diabetes or that's confirmation, or a torn retina or glaucoma or anything crazy like that. Let's move on to I think we're on number six. Number six at 12:06. Um, claircognizance. Wow. Ding, ding, ding. Claircognizance is when you're coming online. This is one of the most, in my opinion, powerful um, clairs, gifts to have. That's just my opinion. Sometimes this one can be frightening for some people, but it's absolutely an amazing sign that you're having a spiritual awakening. Your clairs, your gifts are starting to come online and they're starting to work. Something is happening within you. You're leveling up, and you've reached a level, and you unlock something to open you up to be able to use your gift. That means your vibration, your energy levels are growing. They're rising up because you can't connect with your gifts on a low vibration. Maybe you can. I don't think you can, but maybe you can. Because again, I don't know it all. Anyways, clear knowing, even though I just told you guys I don't know it all, clear knowing. You know. This is when you know something without knowing something, like without reading it in a book, without studying on it, without somebody telling you about it, or without being exposed to whatever it is that you just know. You just know. For example, when I was younger, I got a lot of stories. A lot. I got a lot. When I was younger, this one, I'm going to share this one because this one's wild. I was sitting in the window upstairs on the second floor in my living room. Sorry. I don't know why I'm choking. Choked on my own saliva. They don't want me to tell the story. Oh my gosh. So I was sitting in upstairs on the second floor, just staring out the window. I really didn't have much going on in my life. Didn't have cell phone, computer. This is back in the day when we didn't have all that stuff. You just looked out the window, I guess. So I was looking out the window, and there was a car parked. It was a Cadillac. It was cream colored. It was long. It was big. It was bulky. Um, and I knew it was going to get slammed into. Like I had a vision of it being slammed into. And I thought to myself, why am I thinking that? I had that thought. I asked myself, why am I thinking that? Like, why would I think that? And then boom, the car gets hit right in front of my eyes. The car was hit. It was hit pretty hard too. It was hit so hard that it moved it out of its parking spot. A lot of people park on the road because when you live in the city, there are no driveways. I mean, there are, but not everybody has a driveway. And I'm talking about Rochester, New York right now. This is where I was living at the time. I was living in the city in Rochester, New York. Not everybody had driveways, kind of like New York City. I lived in Queens in New York City and I did not have a driveway. So, anyways, the car was hit right in front. It was hit so hard that it was knocked out of its parking spot. And I have to admit, when I first saw that, I was a little scared. It shocked me. But at the same time, it felt like I was feeling like this surge of like weird energy going through my body, like pulsating, but it felt good at the same time. Like, not good, like, oh my God, your car got hit. Yeah. But good, like, I don't even know, like magically good. I don't even know how to explain it. It wasn't like I was happy that their car got hit. It was just like a good feeling knowing that I knew something and I knew it. That's what I mean when I say it. Unfortunately, it had to do with somebody's car getting hit. But I'll never forget that moment. Um, what was another time? There was another story I wanted to share with you guys. Um, God, there's so many. Gosh, I just had another story that I wanted to share with you. Oh, when I was younger, I was walking home from school. It was me and the twins that I grew up with, and their dad was dating a woman, and the woman that he was dating, her sister lived catty corner from their house. They lived on the corner house, and their sister lived like down here. So if you walk outside, you can look down like the sidewalk and you can see their house. Well, we're walking by, and as we're walking by, there's fire trucks, cops, and ambulance in front of the house, and I'm just standing there, and I felt like I went into a trance. And they're like, Gabe, Gabe, what are you doing? Come on, let's go. Like they wanted to go home and tell their stepmom that this was going on. But as they were asking me, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I was like in this trance, and I said, a man hung himself in the attic, and that made them mad. They were like, "Don't say that. Don't say that's not true. Why would you say that? That's mean." They thought I was being mean. Well, we get to their house. They tell their stepmom, "Hey, blah blah blah. There's ambulance and fire trucks and blah 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 in front of your sister's house." She already knew this. She said, "Yes, Uncle so and so hung himself in the attic." Their face when they looked at me was priceless. Like their jaws were at their feet and they were like, "How did you know that?" I said, "I don't know. I just don't know. I just knew it. It's not like I seen it. I just knew it. Like something told it to me. I just knew it, but they didn't show it to me because that would have traumatized me, and they know that. The image of somebody hanging is kind of traumatizing to me. I don't like that. So I just knew. Um, Another example of just knowing could be that you're a person on a hike walking through the woods, you come across a patch of mushrooms and you're like, "Oh, that's that's I don't even know anything about mushrooms, guys. That's lion's mane. That's turkey tail." I mean, like, I think everybody knows what turkey tail looks like, I think. I think. But anyways, for the sake of the video, that's turkey tail. I know it is. That will help with cancer in your body. And you're like, how do I know that? I don't know anything about mushrooms. And then you come to find out that that really is turkey tail and it really is used to help, heal the immune system and could possibly heal somebody from the C word. That's another way of, just knowing something without actually knowing it or studying it. So, what it is you're online and you're connecting with your higher self, and it's just kind of amazing, right? There's another story that I have. I was driving, actually my husband was driving, I was in the passenger seat. We were in Massachusetts, and we were turning left to go home, and I said, "Don't turn left, go right." And he goes, "Well, we live that way." And I said, "No, no, no." I said, "Please just turn right. Turn right. I have this strong feeling to turn right." We turn right. As soon as we turn right, the car behind us turned left, and a big semi truck slams into that guy. That would have been us if we turned left. That is just knowing stuff without knowing stuff. That's being tapped in. That's what I mean when I say that you're tapped in and you just know. It's wild. I mean, your phone could ring, and when it's ringing, you're like, "That is Uncle Bill." And then you answer the phone and it's Uncle Bill, and they're like, "How did you know that?" And you're like, "I just know. I just know these things." Moving on to number 7. Number 7, sudden changes in what you like to eat, drink, wear, or watch or listen to on TV, radio. You may discover that many of your long held preferences changed drastically. Like maybe you don't like heavy metal no more and you're more into classical music. Um, maybe you used to, if you're like me, I mean, these things can happen overnight. Maybe you're like me and you used to love watching Freddy Krueger and now you just can't. Like I can't. I don't like gory, scary movies. Like I like spooky, scary, jump scare. I don't like chainsaw knives being gutted and decapitated and stuff. I just can't. But I have to admit, I like watching Vikings and I love that show. And even though there's a lot of blood, guts, but I have to say, I have to admit that when those parts come up, I do like, oh my God, I cringe a lot, close my eyes. Like I don't want to see that. I don't want that imprinted in me. It's weird because I wasn't always like that. Um, you know what else can change? You can literally eat a steak last night and then wake up today and say, I don't want to eat meat no more. I'm gonna go vegan. I'm gonna go from this point on, I'm gonna try to be a vegan. And you don't eat meat anymore, or maybe you quit eating meat for like 6 months, or you become a pescatarian or fruitarian. Things like this, you just change. There's no rhyme or rhythm to it. You just change. Maybe you start drinking tea and you hate tea, but now you're shopping for different kinds of tea to drink. That's me, by the way. I love coffee, but I now like tea. Before I was like, tea, what's the point? Now I have a whole cabinet full of all different kinds. I mean, I grow herbs now and I dry them out to drink them. 10 years ago, I would have been like, ew, tea, what's the point? Tea and decaf coffee is like useless if you would have asked me about that stuff like 10 years ago. I still think decaf coffee is useless. I won't drink it. It's either caffeinated coffee and that's it. But now I do like tea. Um, what else? I started to crave liver, but I was anemic. But even after my anemia was adjusted, I still craved liver. Like I wanted liver. Like I needed that organ meat. Like I needed it. Like I wanted it. So I go through these shifts and changes, but I also feel like our body guides us to do these things for whatever reason. Maybe you need a certain organ meat or mineral or vitamin from whatever it is that you're eating to be put into your body. So you can get that from an herb, you can get that from a fruit, you can get that from a certain, don't come at me if you're a vegetarian, but you can get that from a certain meat. Like so many people that are vegans were like, but you can get iron from moringa. Yeah, but it wasn't helping. It helped other stuff with my blood, but it didn't help my ferritin. But that liver sure as shit did. So then I was buying, so then I started buying liver pills because I was disgusting everybody in my house. They were so disgusted anytime I cook liver, and I was literally doing it like once a week cooking liver, and everybody in my house hated me. They said I made the house stink. So I compromised and I stopped eating it so much and I bought the pills. But I haven't really been craving the liver that much. If you do eat too much liver, it will hurt your stomach. So I got to a point where I ate too much, it hurt my stomach, and now I'm like, fuck that liver. Like I don't even want to eat it. It really hurt me. So, liver is on like a little break right now, a little vacay from the liver. But when I was younger, I loathed a liver. I was like, ew, how could people eat that? And then when I was a waitress, at one point in my life, you guys like my hair? If I make a video, you guys will be able to see this. If this is an audio, you won't be able to see it. You'll have to go over to my Instagram or TikTok. But I did a thing. I chopped it, and it's darker. Yeah, but when I was a waitress, I remember the older people, mostly the seniors, would order liver and onions or liver, onions, and mushrooms. And I was like, oh, how can you eat that? And now here I am at 45 cooking liver, onions, and mushrooms. Anyways, and for those of you that loved a certain smell, like a particular scent of something, um, you might all of a sudden just hate them. You feel like they're going to kill you. If you're anything like me, I loved Glade plugins. Hawaiian, I think it was Hawaiian. It was Hawaiian something was my favorite scent. I freaking hate that smell. I freaking hate that smell. When I go to the dentist, they have that same plug-in, and it's like I'll wait outside because it stinks in here. I can't do the plugins. I can't do the Febreze spray. I can't do the Lysol spray. All that has like carbon monoxide and other poisons in it that'll kill you. Again, YouTube, this is for entertainment purposes only, okay? Um, but I can't do the sprays. I can't even bleach and all that stuff. It's horrible. It's really horrible. I have a really hard time with chemicals, and this thing with chemicals started like 3 years ago. It just got worse. It just got worse. As I started to evolve, it got worse. Um, you can use natural stuff to clean your house that's way better than using like Comet and Febreze and those plugins. I can't do perfume either. I love JLo. The JLo perfume, I love all of them. I love Vera Wang. Oh my God, I love it. I have so many nice perfumes upstairs and I can't wear them. Um, my husband wears black. There's another one that I like. Fahrenheit. Those are my two favorites, so I always buy them for him. I can't. I can't. He sprays himself, and sometimes when he takes a shower at night, he always sprays himself before he goes to bed, and I'm like, I have to sleep on the couch. I can't because it irritates me, my nose and my sinuses so bad, and I just can't. I can't breathe. My daughter, she loves perfume. She's always spraying herself down with perfumes. Ariana Grande, I can't stand that perfume. And Bath and Body, ugh, they like I can smell the poisons in them. It's like if you just knew how you smelled right now, you would not wear that. It literally feels like it's giving me brain damage. It makes the inside of my face feel like I'm gonna have a nosebleed. It's awful. I just hate it. I can't do it. I'm repulsed by all perfumes. Music, my love for music has changed. I mean, I still like freestyle, but I used to love freestyle. I like lived listening to freestyle. My husband sings that, he is a 80s freestyle artist. I lived for that music. I even married an artist, and I don't really care for it anymore. There's some 80s music that I grew up with that I don't really care for anymore, especially listening to the lyrics. I'm like, that's a little sketchy. Like I can't get down with that. So I avoid listening to some of that. I could clean my house. Not saying that I don't listen to any of that. I still do some of it, but there's a lot of it that I don't listen to anymore. I find myself listening to like Ram Dass talk or frequency music, like healing music or whatever I'm in the mood for in the background as I'm cleaning, and I feel a different flow of energy when I play stuff like that versus playing all that other stuff that I used to like. Um, what else? What else? Yeah, I just stopped listening. TV too, news. I don't listen to the news. I think I covered TV. Um, did I cover TV? Yeah, I was talking about TV. I used to love gory, scary movies, now they irritate my soul. I just can't watch murder stuff like Freddy Krueger, Jason, stuff like that. It throws my energy off, throws my vibe, it lowers my vibration. So I watch, even though I still like the Vikings and some other stuff, but I can't do the chainsaws and the decapitation stuff like that. I can't. But I do like a good spooky jump scare movie, not bloody gore. Um, so let's move on to number 8, sensitivity to large groups of people, needing to be alone more often. This, when I moved to the country in 2014, this is what I needed in my life because I was becoming sensitive to large groups. I found that around the time of 2013, at the end of 2013, the beginning of 2014, I noticed that going to shows when my husband was performing, I used to stay in the crowd and mingle. Then I started to notice that I was going to the VIP away from people, and then people can see you in VIP. So I felt really like bougie. And then when they see you, they wave you out so they can take pictures of you. And if you don't come out, like you come off as like a snob. So I would hide in the back, in the dressing area or backstage because I didn't want to come off as a snob. I wasn't trying to be a snob. I was just trying to protect my energy. At the time, I didn't really know what was going on with me. I just knew that I couldn't be around people. And I started to have a lot of strange, weird anxiety issues. So I started to distance myself from people. And then in 2014, in October, I moved to the country. And that's when I started my healing away from people. It just got worse, like way worse in like 2019. I tried to get back out there in the scene and it was weird. I didn't like the way it felt. And then 2020 came around and I distanced again. And then of course the Rona came around and then I was happy that that happened. I was like, yeah, we don't have to see people. We don't have to go to public and do stuff. Um, so if you were a hermit during that time, you were probably living it up. But yeah, going through this evolutionary process, this awakening, this acclimation, you will probably have a point in your life that you become sensitive to being around a lot of people. Um, I said in the beginning that there's a lot of levels to this, and I still struggle with this one. I still I came out of my phase not too long ago, and it felt really good. Especially a lot of you guys know that I patch now. Well, you can't see my patches. I have them in places that I can't show you. So I have these patches on, and they like raise your vibration. And I started to do people again, and I was happy and being out there in public. So I don't really mind people now, but there are times that I like to protect my energy. And if I don't really have to be around a lot of people, because it still exhausts me to be around a lot of people. So, like family functions, like Thanksgiving, stuff like that will wear me out energetically. Um, so, yeah, I do kind of still struggle with this a little bit here and there. In the past, though, I thrived in large crowds. Um, I was networking all the time. I was marketing all the time. Part of my job as being my husband's manager was talking to a bunch of people, booking shows. I was a booking agent. Part of my job is talking to people, booking other artists. Not, I wasn't always in the music industry. I was also in property management, working, renting apartments. What do you got to do? You got to talk to people. You got to market. You got to sell. So I was a people person. I still am a people person. You got to be a people person. But when you are going through this evolutionary process, this awakening, and you're a people person, it is hard to people when you don't want to anymore, when you become sensitive to the people around you, to their energy. But there was a time in my life that I thrived in crowds of people, full of good friends, loud music. And now I really do prefer my animals being at home, quiet, watching TV. I really, um, I prefer a smaller gathering of people. I prefer them over larger ones now. I can do people, but I do prefer to be in smaller gatherings over large ones. Now, if you're like me, you may find the sensory overload of numerous conversations and music input very overwhelming. Being in an event, being at an event, or a carnival, or at a family function that's very large if you have a very large family. It could even induce your anxiety. Or you might just really enjoy your own company these days and you'd rather just be alone, and that's okay. That's okay. Self-care. You have to take care of yourself. You cannot heal others if you don't heal yourself. Okay? Furthermore, your priorities in terms of friendships may change. Mine sure did. Really, sure did. Um, I can count all my friends on one hand. Confirmation. And I saw that at 12:29, and 29 is 9, 10, 11. That is my synchronicity of, validation. The 92 or the 29. So, my group of friends definitely got smaller. Um, they changed significantly. This goes along with the you've changed. What was that number 2 that I talked about earlier? You've changed. Because you've changed, they don't want to be your friend no more. So, yeah, you've changed. You might have been friends with someone for like 30 years and then you suddenly realize you have nothing in common with them anymore because you've changed. They make it like it's a bad thing. You've changed. But maybe you're the person that kind of walked away from them because you've changed and you want to continue your growth, and that's okay. Um, or maybe you developed a newfound appreciation for an acquaintance, somebody that you just met, and you've only spent a little bit of time with this person, but now you want to know this person better because you've changed, and this person is more interesting, and you guys have stuff in common, and you guys resonate with each other. Remember, your vibe attracts your tribe. When you're in large groups, you may find yourself empathically feeling what the people around you are feeling. And that can become very overwhelming, especially if you are very, very energy sensitive. I'm very energy sensitive. I can feel when we're going to have solar energy um, stuff happening to the planet before the planet, before it shows up on the charts. It's crazy. And one of my telltale signs is what, you guys? I know you guys know. Some of you guys know. Hot feet. I get hot feet. I don't know why, but it's weird. But I get hot feet. So if you're energy sensitive, you might pick up on, what the people around you are feeling. You might even be tapping into what they're thinking. You might feel like a sharp sense of sorrow or sadness from somewhere and you don't know why. You're like, all of a sudden you were like happy dancing, all of a sudden you feel really like down and out and sad, and then you're kind of like looking around to see if anybody notices, and then you spot this person from across the room and they're like sitting in the corner crying, or maybe they're sitting in the corner with their head down and they just look really sad and they're not having a good time. You're picking up on their energy. um or you could feel a strong, you know sense of hostility from someone around you, but the person around you don't know who it is because the person around you is pretending to be happy and friendly. And you won't know who that person is unless you're in a smaller group. Then you can kind of point it out. But if you're in a big event, you won't know who it is. Um, when and if this happens to you, try to move yourself, try to remove yourself from that place and like regroup and go somewhere else. For me, I like to wear my crystals and I like to desensitize by sitting in a quiet place. So for me, if I'm at a big event, if I have to go outside of that event to sit on the steps, I will. If I have to go into the field across the street and sit by a tree, I will. Most of the time, I navigate to my car. I get in my car, throw my seat back, lock the doors, and lay down, and I desensitize, de-stress, and I ground. So being in my car and outside by a tree is what I like to do. Those who love you will understand. They'll be very understanding and supportive. And the ones that don't really care about you are the ones that are going to throw in your face that you're weird. So in my life, people I thought that loved me were the first to actually judge me. Sad, I know. So needless to say, most of you listening that have been around listening for years, you are my people. You are my tribe. You are my soul family. My virtual world of people, my virtual world of peeps that I'll probably never meet in person. Just know that if you are going through any of the stuff that I'm talking about today, you're not alone. And you were guided here for a reason. You're not alone. Just know that. I have the hiccups now. You're not alone and you're not weird, and I don't give a shit that you changed. Well, I do give a shit because you know what? You're changing for the better. You're becoming a better person. All right, we're almost done. I'm getting through this. I know it. This is so long. I'm so sorry. You know what? I'm not sorry because I like long videos. And when I hear my favorite person, if I'm your favorite person, but when I listen to my favorite YouTuber talk without all those redundant, stupid ass commercials in the middle of their videos, those become my people that I love to listen to. And I like to clean or lay down on the couch or sit outside and just listen to my person talk. So I hope I'm that person for you. And I don't think I have video commercials that roll through my video. If I do, please let me know. I'll take that shit off. That annoys me. So I don't think I have that option. I only have it at the beginning and it does it, in the intro and the outro, but not throughout my video. I hope it don't. All right, moving on to number 9. Number 9 is like number 8, sensitivity to light, sound, and or scent is what number 9 is. And I think I covered most of that in number 8. In addition to being hypersensitive to these type of sensory stimuli, you may find an immense new appreciation of color. Hues of color may seem brighter and more vibrant to you. For me, the color of the trees, and this happened in like 2017, the color of the trees and the sky and some flowers really just popped for me. There was a lot of cotton candy-ish colors, but the color green was not green that we all know of. It was like green with like music. I don't know how to explain it. The sky was like purplish, bluish, pink. It was just so beautiful. Like colors that we're not used to seeing, and they were just so vibrant. Um, I don't know. The colors are so beautiful, they sing. That's the best way that I can explain it. The color is so beautiful that it just sings. It's as if you can sense the vibration and the color all at once. It's, I don't know. If you ever have that feeling, let me know. It's hard to explain some of these things that are spiritual related because there's really nothing to compare it to make a comparison. So trying to make a comparison is still hard because it's still not what I'm trying to compare it to. Um, also, also, it may not be unusual for you to be brought to tears at the sight of a gorgeous sunset or by seeing a beautiful flower, um, or seeing a hummingbird flying up to the flower to drink its nectar. It's really bizarre. Before I moved out of the greenhouse, for those of you that know, the other house I lived in before I bought this one, I wrote a letter to the house, to the new people that were buying the house, even though they could have given a rat's ass about what I had to write, because everything I wrote in the letter, they did everything that I told them not to do. But, I basically told them how to feed the blue jays and take care of the dragonflies, which are the AKA fairies. I told them about what grows around the house, when it grows, how to care for it, the hummingbirds, everything. Like a letter to the new caretaker. But they ended up taking out every single plant that was around there. They tore down the house in the back. Um, they tore down a lot of trees, so that killed off a lot of hummingbirds in that area because they took a lot of their living space out, that they love to live in. So that was kind of sad. But living over there was very magical for me, and growing up, or not growing up, but moving there from New York to the greenhouse in the country was very healing for me. I guess I should have said glowing up, not growing up. Moving on to number 10, seeing patterns and synchronicities. All of that may start to appear around you. This is another one that was very, very, this happened a lot at the beginning. This was one of my very beginning of my awakening. Remember, I said a lot of these are my number ones all clumped together. Um, this was the beginning. When I seen this was the beginning of my awareness in the shift that was happening within my life, in this awakening process, this evolution process that I was going through. So you might notice certain numbers or phrases that keep coming up for you in your life. For instance, you might look at the clock, and it might always be at, for me, the very first number synchronicity that I seen was 9/11. Actually, it was really 11/11, but I seen that all through my childhood. And when we were kids, we were taught, when we saw 11/11 was to make a wish. We did, and then we moved on. But as I got older, something happened to me around this time that I started seeing 9/11. So I was haunted by it. So I was going through a really bad breakup with my children's father back like in the early 2000s. And I saw a 9/11 on the clock, and the clock was red. It was digital red. So seeing 9/11 with in red, digital red, was really freaking scary. I was thinking, oh my God, emergency, something's going to happen, something bad's going to happen. 911 means bad. That's what I was thinking, because what I was going through was bad. And I seen it everywhere. I covered that clock up. I actually unplugged that clock. And then when I did all that, I would see it. I would be at a red light behind a car, and it would be like 9/11. Or a policeman would roll up next to me, but he would roll up so far that I would see the back end of the car and immediately be drawn to the number 9/11. Or I would pull up to a red light, look over at the business or the house next to me, and the address would be 9/11. So I couldn't hide from this. Anytime I tried to avoid it, it popped up even more. It was really, really crazy. Um, I felt like it was haunting me. But then I figured out what it was. It took me years, but I finally surrendered to it. And it actually means call to action, but I didn't figure that out until about 2016, 17, 18, something like that, when I was doing a video with you guys. I figured it out. Um, but also, I started to see other number synchronicities like 111, 222, 1234, 717, 888, 1010, 74, 74, stuff like that. Some of those are just numbers that are giving you a message, and some of those are codes, and also some of those are transmissions. So like 717 would be a transmission. Some of those numbers you can actually look up, but I wouldn't recommend looking them up. That's those you're always going to get a generic reading. So I would actually recommend that you journal, write down what you were doing or thinking, and keep a number journal. Anytime you see anything that is popping up in patterns for you. Um, some of those things you might not be able to look up because it's your unconscious self knows what it means, and that's all that matters. And you just have to learn to accept that. Like 717, I still don't know what that means. I know that it's a transmission. For what, I have no idea at this point. I can decode it and tell you what the numerical message could be, but it's not a numerical message because it don't resonate for me. It's a transmission. I was told it's a transmission. I already know it's a transmission. It's not a code for me to decode. It's a transmission. Will I ever know what it is? I don't know. Right now, I still don't know what it means. I just know. Now, when I see it, I document it and try to figure. So I'm in the phase of putting the puzzle pieces together. So I don't know if I'm meant to know. So I'm just going with the flow. I'm not going to get caught up in it like I was with the 9/11 because then it will haunt you. And I don't want it to haunt me. So my unconscious self knows, and I'm just accepting that. So again, I would recommend that you just write down what you are doing and what you're thinking when you see the numbers because it can mean something different from you. So yeah, you can look up the angel code and see what it means, or you can look up the generic meaning online on Google and see what it means. But again, it could mean something different for you. 9/11 was call to action for me. Um, I'm not going to go, I did a video on numbers. This video is probably already 2 hours long, so I'm not going to go. I was going to just give you guys some examples, but I do have a video already on YouTube that goes over some numbers, synchronicities. So I'll just leave it as that. I think I said about 9/11 being an emergency, but I was wrong. It was call to action. I was being called, literally. I was being called. Remember when I told you guys, I mentioned earlier that I was on a path for far too long and I was being called to change routes. But I didn't know this back then. I know this now, but I didn't know this back then. I ignored it. I ignored the call. I kept ignoring the call. And every time I ignored the call, lots of things would start to happen in my life to divert me. So I ignored the call several times because I was unaware back then. The universe was trying to change my course, but the universe or my spirit guides or my angelic team or my guardian angel, whoever they are, my divine spiritual team, okay, sprinkled a little bit of chaotic magic on my path and diverted me because I'm a bonehead. I'm hard headed. I don't like change. I fight against change. I still fight against change. So finally, my path had changed and I figured it out. So um, I know this now. That's why it's important to journal because these puzzle pieces can make sense to you later on down the road. So I know this now, but back then I was totally oblivious. I was like a victim crying out, like, why is this happening to me? And it wasn't happening to me, it was happening for me. It's not just numbers that you'll see. You may come across quotes. You might see the same quote over and over again. You might hear the same song over and over again, or a specific part of a song, like the lyrics in a song, over and over again. You might see a dolphin all the time, even though you live in a state that has nothing to do with dolphins. Um, so all of these things are signs. It's a way that your divine spiritual team is trying to communicate to you, or the universe is trying to communicate to you. So keep that in mind. Um, Here's another one. Deja vu. You might start to experience intense deja vu to the point where you know exactly how things are going to unfold next. Now, I've had deja vu, but never to the point where I knew how something was going to unfold. When I had deja vu and then I was aware that I had this moment, that's usually when my deja vu stops, is when I have awareness that I've been here and then I snap out of it. So if you've ever had deja vu and you knew it was going to happen next, please share your story down below, because that's interesting to me. I feel like if I don't bring awareness to the moment of deja vu, maybe I'll be able to see what happens next. I'm not sure. No. I think I covered mostly everything. Generally, when these synchronicities and coincidences, well, you guys call them coincidences. I don't believe in coincidences. Everything happens for a reason. But when they happen, it means that something is trying to get your attention. Maybe it's a heads up that you're going exactly where you need to be, or it'll be a wake up call for you guys that you need to make some big changes in your life. Like change your route, change your course, change the way you're living your life. Okay. Like me. Don't be a bonehead. Don't fight against it. Number 11. Drink some water. My voice is starting to go away. Number 11. Prophetic dreams or warnings. On a similar note to the patterns mentioned a second ago, things that you dream about may end up coming true. You might dream that a friend of yours visited you only to have them show up unexpectedly the next day. Or you wake up from a nightmare about something horrible happening and then it unfolds exactly as you dreamt it would. Um, for me, I don't usually have prophetic dreams. My daughter does. Um, so far, everybody she dreamed about being pregnant has been pregnant and had a baby. Um, I had one prophetic dream that was very, 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 very profound for me. I dreamt when I was little, I was in was I in elementary school? I was in middle school. I dreamt about a serial killer in Rochester, New York. His name was Arthur Shawcross. I was a young teen in middle school. I think I was in like sixth, maybe seventh grade. And I dreamt of a killer. Um, this was like 1988, 1990, something like that. And in my dream, God, thinking about it makes my heart beat fast. In my dream, I dreamt of this man. I was in the woods and I seen this big white van pull up into the woods, and I was hiding behind the tree watching this happen. This guy parks his van, he gets out, he opens up his back doors, and he pulls out a body and he slides it out and he positions it in the woods. And when I realized it was a body, I take a step back and I step on a twig or a leaf or something. I made a noise. In the dream, he heard the noise and he seen me and our eyes locked. We made eye contact with each other and then he started chasing me while I started running away from him, and then I woke up. My heart was beating really fast. I was so scared, but I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, "Whoa, that was a weird dream, right?" And I was getting ready for school, and I don't watch the news. Like my parents were watching, my father were watching news in the morning, and like I tell my dad about this dream, and he's like, "Yeah, yeah, go bug off, whatever." Like I was bugging him or something. So he wasn't listening to me. So like I had this dream. I was just a kid telling him my dream. He's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, go get ready for school. You gotta go." Then this news alert comes on the TV about this guy. He gets caught stashing a body in the woods. He looks exactly the same way he did in my dream, and he had a white van. My dad looked at me, so he was listening, and was like, "Did you watch the news?" He thought I watched the news and got that information, but I didn't. I had just come upstairs from my bedroom, and I didn't have a TV in my room. Dude, we're talking about the 80s. We didn't have TVs in all our bedrooms like they do now, right? We had that one big floor model TV with that little box with the clicker. If you had money. If you didn't, you had the TV with the dial and you had like three stations. It was wild. That dream scared me. I seen that man. And then I was afraid, of course, like if he was going to get out of jail, if he was going to come and get me, is he going to think I was the one that told and that's how he got caught? So for a really long time, I was afraid to walk to school because I was thinking that he was going to get me. And I didn't walk to school. I had to walk to my bus stop. So I was afraid that he was going to get me. So I was afraid of I was very aware of my surroundings for a really long time. Stranger danger. That was instilled in our heads a lot. But Arthur Shawcross, that was his name, the Genesee River Killer, and that was my prophetic dream, and it came true, right? Like I had that dream, and I seen it, and I had oh my God, everything, the way he looked, the van, everything. It was crazy. It was crazy, 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 crazy. I'll never forget that. But other than that, I've never had any other prophetic dreams or anything like that. Nothing. So this is why it's important to keep a dream journal. Like you can write these things down and keep it close to your bed and or, nowadays we have cell phones. We have the option to voice record on our cell phone, right? So you don't have to write anything down at that moment. You can just get up real quick, speak your dream, and then put it down and write it later in a book. Keep a dream journal, or a recorder next to your bed to jot down or to voice what you can upon wakening so that you can refer back to it. You always include dates. You can even include the time. Keep all that. Those will be your notes, and you could refer back to your notes. And if anything unfolds that's familiar to you, you'll have it written down. Some of these dreams might be warnings, while others might be epiphanies. For example, if you keep dreaming about suffering from a particular health issue, you might want to go and get that checked out. That could be your subconscious telling you, listen, Gabby, you need to go get your blood drawn. You need to go visit a doctor and get XYZ checked out. Because maybe you're not aware something's going on, but your subconscious is aware, trying to tell you something is going on. And you might want to get it checked out or change your lifestyle. Pay attention to what's going on and don't brush anything off as ignis. Oh my God, I can't even talk. In Why can't I say the word? Insignificant. Jesus Christ. I think I've been talking too long. If it's showing up now, it's showing up for a reason. And Edgar Casey is what I love Edgar Casey. Edgar Casey says, and I quote, nothing of importance happens in our lives that isn't first foreshadowed by a dream. All right, moving on to number 12. I'm almost done. My voice is tired. I've been talking too much. Number 12, purging the unnecessary and having real gratitude for what you love. Becoming spiritually enlightened often involves cutting down and having less. Sorry, my dog's barking. And having less in your life rather than having more. That's because we have to learn to detach and not become too attached to anyone or anything. Stuff just clutters up our space. It's unnecessary. It isn't necessary to have a whole bunch of stuff. Most of our stuff is not anything that we need. And that's sad to say because let me just say this. If something were to happen and the world would black out right now and we'd have no power, no heat, no energy of any kind, would the stuff that you have in your house that you think you need help you? Probably not. Probably not. Because we don't have any of the necessary things to survive. Because we're too materialistic. We like to buy shit we don't need. We make money and then we buy things that we want, not what we need. When and if you get rid of various bits of clutter, physical and emotional clutter, because if you're a person that's hoarding, you most likely have a physical or emotional situation. So if you are hoarding or accumulating for far too long, you start to really how can I say this nicely? Because I know that there's a lot of people out there that do collect. My father is a hoarder. My father lives in the past, so he's afraid to detach. Most people that are afraid to be alone or people that have lost a lot in their life tend to hoard because they want to fill the void. Could be heartbreak, could be anything. Um, when you don't have a lot of stuff, you start to appreciate what you do have. People that hoard are diagnosed with depression and stuff like that because they went through traumas. They have abandonment issues. They don't want to be alone. Instead of working out the traumas, they hoard to fill the void. But humanity is greedy. We're really a materialistic bunch of humans. We evolved and wanted more useless shit instead of useful stuff. So, for example, a person who only has, it could be like a homeless person, but in my example, I'm like got the image of like an indigenous mountain man living out on the land trying to survive. Somebody that doesn't have what we have in this world. No house. He doesn't have a drawer full of silverware. He doesn't have a cabinet full of useless plastic cups, glass cups. He lives in the wild. He lives on the land. Maybe he just has a horse and a tent and a bag and a few items that he needs to survive. And one of those items is a single ceramic bowl and maybe a set of utensils. And he's going to treat these objects like precious objects because they are precious objects, because they're the only objects he has and the only objects he needs to live in the wild. He'll see the beauty and the craftsmanship in these items that he holds in his little leather bag. And he'll have sincere gratitude for being able to use them, to eat from them, to get nourishing food, to hold nourishing, delicious food. These items will be washed with care, like Ram Dass says, karmic yoga. He'll wash them gentle, he'll take care of it. He probably oils it, wraps it in cloth, and keeps it in a safe place to honor it. But not here in America, not here in the Western world. We own junk drawers. We have drawers crammed with knives that are not in a protective sleeve. We have like 3 different kinds of scissors in this drawer, receipts, barrettes, hair ties, batteries, a Lego, probably some aspirin or Tylenol, old phones from 2007. Our cabinets are filled up with useless cups spilling out. Like every time you open the door, a bunch of plastic cups probably go flying out at you. We have unwanted dishware that we don't use. We probably cram it above our refrigerator in that cabinet that nobody ever uses. And these are all examples of what's going on in my house, except the junk drawer. I don't have one of those anymore. I finally got rid of that. When we bought this house, I refused to have a junk drawer. I have everything organized in a big cabinet out in the laundry room. So I don't have a junk drawer. But I do have unused dishes that are stored above the refrigerator, and I have a whole cabinet of cups that I don't use because I only drink out of glass. I will not drink out of plastic. But I live in a house full of other people that do, and they like their plastic cups. So it's a compromise. So yeah, I have a whole bunch of unwanted dishware that I don't need. I don't host parties. I have all these fancy little like hors d'oeuvre trays that I'll probably never use. My mom gave me because I don't fancy large parties with lots of people. I'll probably never use them. Back in the day, I would have loved them. Um, I have a whole drawer of utensils that I don't really use. Um, I got a lot of just useless shit. But here I am, I'm talking about useless shit. But yeah, I go out to like estate sales and antique shops and I buy stuff from like the 1800s. So if you're going through and this awakening, this evolutionary process, you might feel an intense need to pack up and just move away because you might just want to get away from the junk drawers, the cabinets full of dishes that you don't use, a world full of unnecessary shit. You just might want to just get away from all that because you are not, that's not you anymore. It's not your lifestyle. It's too cluttered for you. You want to detach, declutter. Um, you feel like you don't need those worldly possessions anymore. You just don't need them. I want to go away. I wouldn't mind, but I don't think like ideally I would like to live as a mountain man. But then I think about it and I watch those shows like Alaska. I don't think I'm fit to live on the land. If you would have got me in my 20s, then that would maybe be a different story. I don't know if I could be chopping wood every day and killing animals to eat meat and all that other stuff to survive. But I sure do wish I knew how to do that stuff just in case we do have some sort of an emergency on the planet where you need to do that stuff. I like to go camping, so knowing how to survive outside, at least I know the basics. Um, but I would like to feng shui my house, which I do a lot. I give away a lot of stuff. I throw away a lot of stuff. If I see that we're not using it, if I see it's been in a box, like the stuff in the garage from when we bought the house, if it's still in the box, we don't need it. We're not missing it. We don't even know what it is. Get rid of it. It's just causing clutter. But I am, like I said, guilty of going to the antique store and shopping and collecting worldly possessions from dead people from like the 1800s. So I'm not perfect. But for some strange reason, I really do feel a sense of peace when I, you know, get old. Like I love bubble pictures, the old pictures with the bubble glass. That's like my all-time favorite. I love picture like photographs of people in the 1800s. Um, I don't know. Maybe I was reincarnated from that time frame, and their stuff just my soul, maybe my soul recognizes like that kind of stuff from that time, that time back then. But yeah, I'll clear out a closet and I'll just give jackets away if they haven't been worn. I always go through my closet like twice a year, and if I don't wear it, I give it away. There's a church across the street. I bag everything up and I give it to the church because I am not giving it to Goodwill. They sell that shit for more than what it's worth. I love going to Goodwill. I cannot believe some used clothes, sweaters with the little lint like balls on them, all stinky. $15. For that, I'll go to Walmart and buy a brand new one. It's unbelievable. Anyways, two more to go. Number 13. We're almost done. Sudden realization of lessons learned through experiences. Now, for me, I'm healing from trauma, lots and lots of trauma, past life trauma, childhood trauma, and current traumas. I've learned so much from all of it, but it's definitely a sign of a spiritual awakening, of an evolutionary process happening within your life, a shift happening in your life, an acclamation happening in your life. When you realize the traumas were lessons in disguise, it's a sweet feeling knowing that you're not the victim. You just need to learn how to change your perspective. When we go through difficult times, we often end up feeling traumatized after we go through something that's really difficult. We moan and groan about it. We moan and groan about our fate, and we even get angry or resentful towards it. We get resentful towards those people who could have helped us but didn't. Some people might get bitter about things that happened or be haunted by the memories of their difficulties for years. Like they'll hold on to those memories, they'll hold on to those grudges. I've learned to stop doing that. It just creates pain in the body that turns into dis-ease. And if you don't fix that dis-ease, that discomfort that's flowing through your body, it's going to turn into an illness. If you're experiencing a spiritual awakening, you might stop in your tracks to realize the invaluable lessons you've learned from those experiences by simply changing your perspective. Just a little bit. Just change your perspective a little bit. Ram Dass says, turn the dial to another station until you tune into what resonates. Change the station. Shift the way you think. Change your perspective. Find something good out of a shitty situation. Without those lessons, you wouldn't have developed the compassion and empathy that you have now towards others going through similar difficulties. You are not a victim. Things are not happening to you, they're happening for you. That's an example of changing your perspective. Maybe you're now able to see how a situation you thought you wanted would have been devastating to you in the long run. Not getting it was a blessing rather than a punishment, even if it seemed like the world was coming to an end at the time. Or the difficulties you had to negotiate have given you the tools to navigate great hardships that make other people crumble. Change your perspective. Everything happens for a reason. It makes you a better person. It helps you to become the person you are today or the person that you're growing into. We are finally at the last one, number 14, the desire to be of greater service to others. This goes along with the previous sign, the number above what I just said. Another major indicator of a glow up is a random act of kindness. The pressing desire to be of service to others, not service to self. Even though I tell you guys to love yourself, take care of yourself, and it's okay to be service to self, to take care of yourself. Okay, I'm not telling you guys not to take care of yourself, but you have to be aware of others. And it's good to be service to others. This can manifest in different ways depending on the individual and their personal priorities. For example, one person might pay for your coffee in the coffee line, or another might be that they share spiritual growth stories to others so that they don't feel lost or alone. Those are examples of random acts of kindness. I love the one with the coffee. I will do that. People have done that for me, paid for my coffee, and I thought that was cool. So I've done that because I thought that was so cool, and I wanted somebody else to feel that feeling that I felt when somebody paid for my coffee. And doing these videos, I do them because I know what it's like to feel lost and alone and feel like I'm going crazy. And I don't want you to think that you're crazy because you're not alone. Realizing that everything you've gone through has been a valuable lesson for your forward momentum is a massive, massive wake up call. You, as an individual, have a vast amount of goodness to share with the whole world, and only you can do it. You incarnated here for a reason. You're watching and listening to this video for a reason. So, how do you want to be of service during the time you have left? So, guys, I want you to remember that you are divine. We are here making cosmic history. And also, we're one. I'm helping you. You are me on another timeline listening. Your kindness will go a long way. Again, you're here for a reason. It's going to do something. It's going to shift. If you made your way through this whole entire video, then you are my people. I am your people. And you're going to make a change in this world. And this was a message for you. Something that I said was a message for you. And your kindness will go a long way because you're going to be teaching somebody else what I'm teaching you. Your kindness is going to go a long way. It will change the future. You may not understand this now, but at some point on your journey, you will. I feel that spiritual growth is somehow a way to heal the past to change the future. I also feel it's more than that. You know, there's a lot of avenues to this. And I spoke about, the Matrix in a lot of my other videos and the reason for coming to Earth. But this video is already like probably 4 hours long. I don't even know. My clock, what did we hear? Like 3 or 4 different songs. So yeah, I've been here for a minute. But I've had to pause my video a couple times throughout the way because I'm in the kitchen. So I'm in one of the common places in the house that people navigate to get water and food. So I've been here for a minute. My butt's hurting, the chair I'm sitting in is hard, and I need to go stretch. So yeah, you know, you're here for a reason. And sorry, my dog's barking. Um, I just want to thank you guys for listening. And if you have any questions at all, please ask them. This is a judgment-free place. So ask away. Also, my email address is somewhere down below in this video. If you want to talk to me privately, shoot me an email. If anybody happens to ever leave a rude comment, I will just delete it and block that person. But I don't get rude comments here. I haven't in a very long time. The only time I got rude comments is when I shared stuff about orbs. But when I do videos like this, nobody ever says mean stuff. Not to say they won't. They probably will now just to test me. But I'll just delete it and move on. It's not going to do anything to my energy. I want to tell you that you are divine and I love you. Bye, Soul Fam.